is automation ever going to take my job? I was on a pipeline one time, and this helper asked me, he was a young man and he was thinking about being a welder. And he said, but is this job going to be here for me for 30 years? Or are we going to live in a world where robots build these pipelines? What's going to happen? And he had just handed me a rod, 6010 5P plus, what we put root passes in. And there was a mud puddle, and I dropped the rod right in the mud puddle. He's like, oh, hey, here's another one. I said, no. And I pulled the rod out of the mud puddle, and I stuck it in my stinger, and I took my glove and I just wiped it off, and I welded the pipe. He's kind of freaking out because it's 100% X-ray. Every weld we make's got to be X-rayed. I said, that weld's going to shoot just fine. This technology has been around for so long. What did this welding rod cost me? 10 cents? I'm manipulating that metal. The wind's blowing. There's water. I intentionally put water on the rod. There's all these outside forces that, as a human, we're just dealing with just continually, right? Is there ever going to be a time where a robot can do that? Possibly. What will that robot cost? Many millions of dollars. Will we ever be in a position where it makes sense to invest that money into an infrastructure, into a robot that's going to be able to make that weld with the speed and accuracy that a human can do without hardly even thinking about it? Man, when you break it down from an efficiency standpoint, what's the cost of that weld on that pipe? And when you got to bake in some 10 or $20 million piece of equipment, dude, I'm just not seeing it. I'm not seeing it at all. When a welding machine costs you $10,000 or $15,000 and a welding rod is 10 cents a piece, I don't see it. Corporations make their decisions based on ROI, return on investment. And if there's people to do that work, and the welding rod is that cheap and this quality, I cannot ever see a time where a robot is going to make these welds.